Welcome to week 1. Know thyself, creating or crafting a creed or mantra. Every time that I start a session with somebody, it starts with understanding. And I want you to understand yourself. I want you to become an expert in yourself because we will build a foundation on truth. You see, I got into this sport and I saw a lot of people were fighting out of desperation, the wanting or need to prove themselves or achieve some sense of accolade or worth by the approval of others or by a gold belt or a medal versus inspiration, knowing who they are and shining that out. Are you competing out of inspiration or desperation? Now look, desperation will get you far. It'll get you real far, all the way to the title. But I think of like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, and if you look in his interviews, just watch him. He was always desperate to prove. It was always that next thing, that next level, that next title. There was no peace. When we do our work, I want to create peace, power, and performance. Well, peace starts from honesty, your fire, the divine light that is inside of you. So I want to know your values. I want to know who you are, what you want, why you want it. When you can begin to articulate these things, to know what you stand for, what you'll bleed for, that makes you powerful. Nobody's telling you who you are or that you're worthy, but you know it. It comes from within. You live to your truth. I told you in the beginning, you were born with a spirit of power, love, and sound mind. Power comes from being consistent in what you think, what you say, and what you do with the things that you can control. So we're going to start thinking differently about ourselves. Stop asking. Stop asking the world to define your self-worth. Start telling them, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. And we're going to speak that every day. And then when we speak those things, we're going to do it. That creates power. Now, if you're living in a world where you're speaking one thing, but you're thinking another about yourself, oh, I know I can be champion, but you don't really know, or you need your coach's approval, or your wife's approval, or your girlfriend or whomever, then you're not acting out of a sense of inspiration or power or truth. You're asking the world to feed your faith fire. It starts with faith. It starts with understanding and knowing yourself. I believe it was Sun Tzu who said, to understand yourself is to become invincible. Well, I want to make you invincible. What's interesting about what he said is that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to understand who you are. I want you to develop a creed. And there's a few questions that you can ask yourself that will develop this. The first, and I think the biggest, is who are you? Who are you? Are you a person of character, integrity? Are you a champion? Do you believe in yourself? Are you a warrior? If you're religious, are you God's warrior? Define who you are. 2, know your why. I mean, I know this gets touted a lot through a lot of different self-help books and things, but don't let it take away its importance. You must know why you're doing the things that you're doing. This is a fuel for you that you will use to burn through all the suffering and all the trials that you face. Then I want you to know, what is it you want? So many people say, I don't believe that you'll miss. Let's just get that out there. I think that people don't aim very well. But when you aim well and you say or articulate, I want to be UFC champion, have the courage to say it. Have the courage to point out, say exactly what you want. I was doing some coaching in a gym and I heard one of the head coaches there say, he's like, I just wanted to be in the UFC. That's all I want. I just want to get to the UFC. And you know what happened? He did. Congratulations. He got to the UFC. But then after about 2 or 3 fights, he faded out. Now, I'm not saying making it to the UFC isn't an incredible accomplishment. It is. It's fantastic. But when I sat there and I listened to him, he said, I wish I would have gotten more specific on what I wanted. Know who you are, know why you want it, and know exactly what you want. And then claim it as if it was happening today. Build a mantra. Who you are, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Once you've developed your mantra, We're gonna start speaking this every day. So I want you to write these thoughts out. Take some time and write out, this is who I am. I'm not asking the world anymore, I'm telling the world. I believe that you can be a modern day prophet, and that if you just but speak that prophecy, if you believed it and took action towards it, that it will come true. I mean, people have talked about the law of attraction, but I personally have seen it happen over and over and over again, and I've experienced it in my own life. I spoke into existence that I wanted to work with UFC fighters. I spoke into existence that I wanted to be a mental coach for some of the top minds in the world, executives, millionaires, NFL superstars, Super Bowl champions. I fed that mantra of who I was, what I could do, and then I watched as it came to be. You can do the same. I believe that you can do the same, but you have to own it right now. Define who you are. What is your creed? What will you stand for? What are you willing to do to get it? Let me give you an example. You see these mantras with people all the time. I'll give you mine. Not my recent one of my old ones. From 2017, the first mantra that I created. In 2017, I will execute on God's strategy, for he has given me a spirit of power, love, and sound mind. He has blessed me with gifts and abilities that must be shared. And I will share them and do them by making each and every day my masterpiece. And through me, he will have monumental impact, blessing the lives of anyone who should choose to listen or follow. Once I'd crafted that mantra, I posted that on my dashboard, I posted that on my refrigerator, I put it on my notebook, on my cell phone, on my laptop, everywhere, so that I was surrounded by it, and I spoke it every day. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there were days where I failed, I didn't do well. I didn't live up to my calling. Those were the days that it helped the most. To remind myself of, oh yeah, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. When you develop your mantra, I want you to post it everywhere. I want you to refine it. And this will change as you change over the seasons of life. So as you go, this might be the season of faith. So you might need to say, I believe in myself. It might be a season of discipline. I am disciplined. It might be a season of good health or diet. Maybe you've always struggled with food. I'm healthy and health conscious. I eat well. Whatever it is, when you craft your mantra, I want you to put it in such a way that it's present. It's in the present tense. Think the statements of I am. Now this can be a little bit weird for people because they're like, wait a minute, but I'm not those things yet. Well, that's kind of how this works. It's the law of attraction. Like I said, we're gonna start speaking it, we're gonna start visualizing it, we're gonna start believing it, and then we're gonna act as if it already happened. We're gonna do it. So if you really believe that you're born to be a champion, that this sport was for you, that you have something special inside of you, then say it. Have the courage to say it. Start putting it out there, writing it out. Because when you take it from the mind and you actually write it out and put it on paper, it starts to make it real. It's the first step in manifesting it. You have to see it first. Nobody's faith is gonna be big enough for you. I call it a faith fire. And I learned very early in my career that in your faith fire, it is your responsibility to feed it. As I mentioned before, not your significant others, not your coaches, not anybody like that. It's up to you. This mantra is part of that. To remind yourself in the darkest of times, this is what I'm going after. This is why I'm suffering. Because I believe in myself. I can do this. This is who I am. So stop asking the world who you are. Don't let all of the pressure of winning or losing define your self-worth or your identity. Own it, claim it, speak the prophecy, and then act like it. I am a champion. I am a UFC champion. I am the greatest of all time. How big do you want to go? Maybe you've never had the courage to say these words. I encourage you to do that in lesson 1. Craft your mantra. If you struggle to figure out the things that you value, look to your pain. Look to your pain. Where in life were you hurt the most? The opposite of that is probably going to be related to something that you value. Maybe you're a provider because you weren't provided for. Maybe you're a protector because you were bullied. Whatever it is, own it. I'm a protector. I'm a champion. Today I will live as one. Today I will work as one. Get something that fires you up. and don't ever lose it. One more note on mantras. I mentioned this before, but I can't reiterate it enough. There are seasons of life. There's seasons. Whatever season you're in, if your mantra has a tendency to go stale, you get bored after you've said it so many times, maybe 6 months, a year later, you're like, man, I've been saying this all day long. Then freshen it up. Get back in touch with what's going on in your life right now and who you need to be in life right now. There will always be a through line, a truth of who you are, but maybe there's a season of adversity, that something you need to embrace inside and begin to speak diligently out. What's incredible is that when you feed this fire inside of yourself, it will grow. And all of a sudden, other people will start to get warmed up. And then the next thing you know, they're gonna catch your embers, and they're gonna start believing what you're saying. And they're gonna start feeding your fire. And then they're gonna start believing in what they say and realize they can do it too. And then they're gonna create their own fire. That's when we burn the world down. And that's what I'm here to do.